Howdy folks, this is Shane. This video is going to be a little bit different. Today I'm going to show you my guitar collection. It's not huge, but I just realized to myself I might have one of the most obscure guitar collections out there. Some of the stuff is pretty bog standard and some of the stuff is quite a bit different. I get so many questions on my guitars, what pickups I use, what strings I use, all that kind of stuff, so I figure I'll put this video together to show you a little bit about what's going on. I'm going to start with more of the common guitars to start with, and then we'll get into more of the obscure ones. So let's get into it. This first one is my Mexican Stratocaster. This is a 2016 model. It's all stock. I haven't done anything to this other than change the strings and also lock the tremolo down. What I really like about Mexican Strats, other than the fact it looked super cool, was it sounded amazing when I plugged it in. These single coils are some of the best single coil Strat single coils I've ever owned. Single coils, I should say that some more. But basically, they're very modern-ish. They've got quite a big sound to them, but not in an intrusive sort of annoying way. They actually sound really great and very classic. On this particular guitar, I love the neck pickup, I love the bridge pickup, and I also really dig bridge and middle. I think that's where this guitar shines. I use that a lot in my videos, that in between bridge and middle position. I think it absolutely sings. This is 100% stock. After locking the tremolo down, I don't even know if I had to adjust the neck. I may have just slightly, but I have a feeling it was just perfect. I actually bought this going in looking for an amplifier. This guitar I plugged into the amp and went, wow, this guitar's great. So yeah, that's my Mexican stock Stratocaster, and that's the only Strat that I have. Another plus about the Mexican Strat stuff, compared to what was the original US series up until the new series came out, was they were a little bit thicker down towards the headstock. I kind of like that because I got big hands. They're not a big neck by any means, but they just feel a little chunkier towards this side. Compared to my old deluxe Strat, I like the feel of this neck a lot more. Has big frets, and what can I say? Sounds great. Since I got this Fender 52 reissue Telecaster from Haight Street Music in San Francisco many years ago now, this has been one of the foundation instruments on my channel. I use it a lot. I play with it live a lot. I played it so much in a short amount of time that I actually wore down the frets that it came with. I've since had them replaced with 6105 stainless steel frets, which means it's not going to wear out again, which is awesome. I have Joe Biden, Danny Gatton pickups in there, so that's Joe Biden, not Biden, the politician. So yeah, these are the Danny Gatton pickups. They're as good as you're going to get for a Telecaster without getting any noise, in my opinion. Another option would be Zex coil pickups. I think they're more sort of suited in Strats. For Tallies, Joe Biden pickups, awesome. I've made a few other mods to this over the years. I had this particular plate sent to me here. Great thing about this plate is it puts the switch on an angle, so you're less likely to knock it backwards by accident. I kind of like that. It's just a little thing. It doesn't really make that much of a difference cosmetically. Otherwise, I've also changed out the pots in this guitar, and I think that's about it. So the frets feel amazing, and what can I say? All these marks that you see on this guitar is actually through use. This wasn't a relic guitar. I played this to death, and I still play it all the time. This particular black spot is actually from my hand, and that doesn't come out. I can try cleaning that as much as I want, and it's not going to come out. I actually like the fact that I've kind of relicked this through use. It's not going to ever look as beat up as relict as some of those ones you buy, but in terms of use, it's actually, that's what it's from. So the neck on this is what sold me on it. It has a big neck. It's not huge, but it's big. It's bigger than the Strat. It feels great in the hand. The 50s necks, in my opinion, are my favorites, just based on their sheer size. And what can I say? I'll have this until the end of time. There's no doubt about it. And what can I say? I'm not gonna go messing with the pickups or anything in this guitar. I think it's just a beautiful guitar. So yeah, that's my 52 reissue Telecaster from Fender, made in the US. All right, over to my Tokai Love Rock electric guitar. You hear me introduce this a lot on my videos. This is actually based, I think, on a 59 style Les Paul. It's heavy, and I owned a custom shop Les Paul that was a gold top. And in terms of just physical feel and just everything about it, this feels just as good as my custom shop Les Paul did. It also has two PAF style pickups. The finish is quite beautiful. The neck is big as well. It's the same neck that was on my Gibson Gold Top. And yeah, it's got everything that you could want on a Gibson, but it's made in Japan and you save yourself at least a third buying them new. In Australia, these are easy to find. I know you can't get them in some countries, but in Australia, the Tokai stuff is as good as you're gonna get without buying the top of the line sort of custom shop Gibson stuff. It's just a great instrument. I've been a huge advocate of Tokai guitars for years, and it's just flawless. It's flawless in its looks, it's flawless in the way it feels, and yeah, what can I say? It's just a great Les Paul. This particular color choice wasn't my first option, but when I picked this up and played it, I thought to myself, you know what, it's kind of growing on me. And then by the second or third day, I picked it up and I just went, you know what, this is actually pretty cool. I really dig the look. And yeah, it's absolutely grown on me. There's like a tobacco burst style color one as well. It's out there for a lefty, but I can't get that one, or it wasn't in the shop. This one was, and I don't like ordering guitars I haven't played. Being that this played and felt so great, I just thought, you know what, this will do. Beautiful. This next guitar is an ES335 style guitar from Tokai. It's actually called a 145L, L for left-hander. It's made in Japan. It has exactly the same size neck as my Les Paul as well. Actually, I had this one long before I had my Les Paul. One of the reasons I bought the Les Paul was because it had the same size neck as this. The 50s necks, in my opinion, just feel so great in the hand. This is also extremely light. It feels like it might weigh somewhere around half the weight of a Les Paul. So you can wear this all gig, or use it, play it all gig, and you're not gonna get a sore shoulder. So yeah, it's pretty great like that. In terms of the color, the Cherry Sunburst is about as iconic and classic as you can get. A lot of my guitar heroes play them as well, and I've always been a big fan of this sound. It was always a great point of difference from a Strat. If you're playing blues, a 335 is an absolute great blues machine, as is a Strat, of course, but they're both so different that every now and then you pick up one or the other and you go, yep, that's why I have both. I haven't modded this other than replacing the switch. Everything else on this guitar is stock. I've owned a Gibson ES335, I've owned an Epiphone ES335, and this Tokai is by far my favorite. The 2009 Gibson ES335 I owned was one of the worst sounding, worst playing guitars I've ever had. Even after trying to have it set up a number of times, it sounded like there were wet towels over the pickups. It had no life. Having this as a comparison to AB against that Gibson, I was like, it's a no-brainer. This is just so much better for the sound that I like, at least. And I just thought, you know what? They look identical to each other, and this is my first Tokai guitar. So initially I was like, I'm not too sure, but after playing it and then ABing it, I just went, it's a done deal. I love it. That said, the Epiphone guitars were great too. I really shouldn't have sold my old Dot. All in all, if you can find a Tokai guitar made in Japan on the secondhand market, or even some of the Chinese ones are good too, they're an awesome investment. You'll have them for years. They play and feel great. Like I mentioned in the last part talking about a Les Paul, I'm a huge advocate for Tokai instruments. I think they're awesome. Up next we have my Little Crow Calvino SD electric guitar. These are made in Australia, and what can I say? I had some input into the design and conception of these guitars. I didn't actually do any of the building for it. I just gave Little Crow Guitars feedback on what it is I thought I would like in a guitar, and then they built that. Well, they had some of their own ideas too, but at least I had some input into that. But this is basically like a little bit of a brainchild guitar. It has the tally body, it has the tally bridge pickup as well, which is awesome, but also has a mini humbucker in the neck. Now, mini humbuckers, for those who don't know, are kind of like the middle ground between a Telecaster and an SG. They have all the chirp and brightness of a single coil pickup but no buzz. So I can either use neck pickup and get no hum, both pickups and get no hum, or bridge pickup and I get that tally steely sort of sound, which is awesome. In terms of the neck, it feels pretty much exactly the same width as my 52 reissue Telecaster, which is great. As I keep mentioning, I like the bigger necks because I got pretty big hands for a short guy. What I really love about this too is it's brain dead simple. Toggle switch up here to select the pickups, one volume control, one tone control. Who needs two volume controls these days? I don't think it's really that important unless you're really getting creative with stuff. For me, I just like one volume control, one tone control, and and that's it. I really dig this simplicity. I absolutely love the emblem that they've put in the headstock as well. I think that looks awesome. So the back of the neck here, as you can see, it's kind of like almost unfinished, although it is finished, but it has that really raw kind of look to it, although it does feel very smooth. You might remember I had a brown one of these guitars as well. I actually sent that one back just because I always prefer one guitar over another if I have two that are the same. That's why none of my guitars double up. I have one Telecaster, one Strat, one Les Paul style guitar, one ES335 style guitar, this particular guitar, which kind of treads that middle ground between a Tele and an SG in terms of the pickup configuration, and it has its own vibe going on. So it's not just another Tele. If I was to buy just another Telecaster, odds are I would pick one over the other and use that most of the time. The other one would sit in the cupboard or under the bed. So I choose not to have two of the same guitar. And that's what led me to this particular beast right here. This is a Maton Master Sound electric guitar. This is also made in Australia as well. It's actually made in the city that I live in Melbourne, Australia. And it features two pickups, a three-way toggle switch, a volume and tone control. And I can also split the back pickup from humbucker to single coil by flipping the switch down. And if I have it up, it's on the humbucker mode. And the neck pickup, although it looks probably like a humbucker, it's actually a single coil. I love the retro look of this, and I just think it looks and feels great in the hand. Much like the Little Crow, this is absolutely unique in terms of all of my other guitars. None of them look and sound like this. It actually has its own sound. When I bought this, initially I thought to myself, I think this is gonna replace the Les Paul. And then actually when I did an A/B, I went, wow, they're very, very different instruments, and I'm gonna hold on to all of them. This particular guitar replaced the Mustang GT200 debacle that happened for me not long ago. It's a three-piece body. It's all Australian woods as well. The neck actually looks really beautiful as well. It's almost or as close to the G&L I used to have in terms of nice woods on the neck. The G&L was in a class of its own in terms of neck finish. That was just looked like a beautiful piece of wood. But this particular guitar so far, I'm extremely happy with. It feels and plays great. I just adjusted the neck. I've still got the same strings on it. And one thing I should point out about this particular guitar is it holds tune as good as a Strat. You could throw your Strat out the window of a moving car, pick it up and it'll be in tune. You pick up a Gibson off the floor and it's out of tune. That's just my experience with them. But I'm using that as a pretty hard example of how great this stays in tune. This is up there with the Strat in terms of just, I take it out of the case 2 days after using it and it's fine. I don't have any problems with tuning stability on this. And yeah, it feels and plays great. It also has the Grovers on the back of the tuners as well. So they're pretty reliable. Bolt-on neck. Another thing is it has a nice big neck. I've been extremely lucky to find a guitar like this, which is so random compared to everything else I have, that also has a big neck. I wouldn't have bought it otherwise. It feels kind of similar to my 52 reissue Tele as well as my Little Crow in terms of the neck size. So it's slightly bigger than a Mexican Strat, but it's not too huge. All of these guitars essentially sound different. The two that probably sound the closest to each other would be the Les Paul and the ES335. What I love about the collection of 6 guitars that I have is they're all different to each other. There's no doubling up, and I'll probably never double up on a guitar unless I find one that I like better than one of the ones I currently have. Right now, I find it hard to believe I'm ever gonna replace my 52 reissue guitar, my ES335, my Little Crow guitar, or this. They all have their own sort of spot in the collection and point of difference as well. It just dawned on me today that I have a pretty unique collection of guitars. I have 2 Australian-made guitars, 2 Japanese-made guitars, 1 American-made guitar, and 1 Mexican-made Strat, which is essentially an American-style guitar anyway. Really, what's the difference? It's funny how the collection has changed and evolved over the years, and I've tried everything from Squier classic vibes to G&Ls. There was a time where I'd only want to buy American-made instruments, and now that's just not the case. The only guitar I could see adding to this collection down the track would probably be a Duesenberg Star Player. I fell in love with that guitar at Jerry's, and it was probably something I just should have bought at the time. Being that I just left my job to do YouTube and a few other things full time, it made it hard to justify buying another guitar, but thinking back on it now, I probably should have got it. As you may or may not know, I also frequent a lot of secondhand shops looking for used instruments as well. If you don't know much about that, check out my Guitar Search Saturday series. I'll post that up in the cards. So that's a quick overview of the guitars that I have. It's a small collection, but it's a unique collection, I think, more so now than it's ever been. You might be asking, do I own an acoustic guitar anymore? I don't. I recently sold that. It was sitting under the bed for about 6 months unused. I picked it up a few times, but I just always opt for picking up an electric. I get a lot more fulfillment out of playing electric guitar than I do acoustic guitar. Playing acoustic guitar is an art within itself. You know, if you're good at it, my hat goes off to you. It's definitely a skill worth having. I just don't enjoy it as much. I feel a little bit more expressive, or a lot more expressive, playing electric guitars, there's no doubt about it. All in all, I'm extremely happy with my collection. There's certain guitars I will generally pick up more than others, and there's some I do think sound better than others, but they all have their own unique vibe. If you do have any comments or questions about this video or any of the guitars within it, please let me know and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I might do a bit of a playtest video coming up, but I thought I'd sit down, talk about each of the guitars, things I liked about them, and maybe some of the mods and all of that kind of stuff that I've done with them as well. Thanks again for watching, folks. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all soon. See ya.